Welcome to the 12th episode of the Beyond Retirement Learning Series. I'm Susan Graham of Senior Edge Legal, and today's topic we're going to discuss what happens if you recently moved to Idaho, and does that really change your existing estate plan? My purpose in providing this service is to give you useful information for your own circumstances. Also, to provide you with free legal forms. And if you want to connect with me, there's a way to do that by clicking at the bottom of your page and filling out that evaluation form. So let's get started. If you've recently moved to Idaho and you have an existing estate plan, will that continue to work for you? Well, if the documents were done properly by an attorney in the state where you resided and you moved from, then those documents are still effective, and they're recognized by the state of Idaho. But you need to pay attention. Do those documents still reflect what you want? Are the agents you've appointed the people to make health decisions for you, and the people that you've relied on to take care of your finances if you're seriously ill or you're out of town or when you die? Are those still the right people or the right agents to have, and whoever the alternates are? It doesn't really matter if they've changed their address or phone number, but are they still the right people to help out? In addition, is the distribution you want when you're gone to still be what you have set out in the old estate planning documents? If that distribution is still correct, that's okay. But you need to pay attention to coordinate the title of the assets that you've now acquired in Idaho with your estate plan. So if you've purchased a home in Idaho, does the deed reflect your planning wishes? Is it a survivor deed between a husband and wife? If you have a revocable trust as part of your estate plan, is the Idaho real property titled in the name of that trust? And if you've opened new bank accounts or new investment accounts in Idaho, are they properly titled so that, again, they reflect your estate plan if you are ill and can't handle your own affairs or when you die? Lastly, if you're a married person, pay attention, because married people have rights of survivorship in real property if you want that between the two of you. If one of you dies, that the other inherits the property, the real property, the home, the cabin, without the need of a probate. You need to be certain that it's titled properly. There are certain documents you need for sure in Idaho that are different than the ones you had from your old residence. I strongly encourage you to fill out a new living will and health power of attorney and a new financial power of attorney. The law in Idaho says they'll take those documents that were done in another state, but it's only going to be an emergency when these documents need to be used. And Idaho's documents have a different look than the documents that you have from another state. You don't want the professionals who are trying to help you out in that emergency to have to actually read through every line of those other states' documents to see that they can actually follow those wishes. So I encourage anybody who moves to Idaho from another state and they plan on continuing to reside here to get those new forms. Those forms are available on our website. Again, if you'd fill out an evaluation form, it'll refer you to the location where you can get those forms. There's another issue that arises when people move to Idaho from another state, and that's something called conflicts of law. That means if there's the law in the other state is different than the state of Idaho, we have to then figure out, if they're in conflict, which state law applies. You don't want to get involved in that kind of thing. It gets to be expensive and it's an uncertain outcome. So what I strongly encourage people to do is have the documents that you had prepared in another state reviewed by a local attorney so that you don't get wrapped up into these conflicts of law issues. Idaho is a community property state. Not all states are community property states. We're one of about 10 of them. And even if you come from a community property state, Those laws are slightly different than the state of Idaho. Maybe you don't know what I'm talking about. Idaho, the presumption is for married people that the property that's owned by that couple, no matter how it's titled, belongs to the both of them. So if it's just in the husband's name, it doesn't matter. It's considered that it belongs to the both of them. And when somebody dies, all you can do is give away one half of the community property and all of the separate property that belongs to the first spouse to die. And separate property is something that you own before the marriage, or an individual inherited during the term of the marriage, or received just as a gift during the term of the marriage. But Idaho has this funny archaic law that says that income generated from separate property is community property. That means if you have a fishbowl full of white marbles, that's all separate property. And then when you got married, income, dividend income, rental income, interest income, are black marbles that get added to that bowl. And then if you pay down on the mortgage on a separate property asset, but you're using community property funds, the wages from either spouse, that's a community property contribution to a separate property asset. That's more black marbles. And then when you withdraw money from a separate property savings account, what are you withdrawing? Are you withdrawing the black marbles or the white marbles? It's a mess. So you need to, again, consider having those documents reviewed by an Idaho attorney so you don't get caught up in this conflicts of law issue as to whether it's separate or community property. In addition, there are different inheritance laws in other states. For instance, Oregon has an inheritance tax, and Idaho only has an inheritance tax if somebody dies and they're single and they have less than currently $11.7 million. Oregon's number is much less. So again, you want to be certain that you don't trip up by just doing common sense things and saying, oh, it's okay. Again, I encourage you to have it reviewed by a local Idaho attorney to be certain it still meets your wishes. So when you move to Idaho from another place, and this is a lovely place to live, I've lived here 50 years, so I think it's pretty cool, and I'm not moving anyplace else. But nonetheless, you want to be certain that your plans are going to be followed, and there's not going to be any conflict with the other states' laws versus Idaho's laws. The next topic that we're going to have in the Beyond Retirement series is the dangers if you fail to coordinate your assets with your estate plan. I thank you very much for listening to this program, and again, I want to encourage you to complete that evaluation form at the end. Thank you.